Hello?
Hey Carlin, how's it going?
Hey, are you, I should probably just ask, are you recovered from the dodgeball game? I know it's got kind of a rough game, and you and I actually jumped in and played last month. Just want to make sure you're okay and not too injured.
Listen, if you're referring to when Timothy Dalton Bond got me, if you want to put it that way, got me Timothy Dalton Bond. What a he plays dirty. Okay, he plays dirty. I'm tired of it. How are you feeling? I mean, I know you never typically get on a court during practice or during games, so I just
Yeah, my knees, it's tough on the knees, tough on the knees. But I'm getting up there in age.
yeah, you are old. You are older than me. And I've I have Nick Nack on my team, so he's probably throwing balls at your knees the whole game,
Ah,
or he was.
oh yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I have to mostly that's what I have to worry about dodging when it comes to knickknack is the knees. But it was good. It was good to get out there and just see what it's like for our teams. Get that firsthand experience. So I'm glad we could do that. I should probably check with Lisa Prentice just to make sure it's okay for the coaches to get out on the floor. But
So all those other matches and practices that I've seen happening, are you just like are you Skyping in with one of the players like to see how it's going? Are you having QK kind of sub in for you?
yeah. Well, QK has a role in the dodgeball team, but I've really had to reduce that because of just they are so confused when she's there delivering my plays that I'm calling. When she's there going over that, they're really confused. That's part of why last month I wanted to pick somebody like a Coach Mitchell to kind of help decipher. But yeah, QK. It's fun that it's funny you mentioned QK. I brought her up with my mastermind group, and last month you mentioned maybe I
Oh
should fire her.
gosh.
And I thought, well, I should go to my mastermind group. I should ask them, get their opinion, because their opinion is more along the lines of what I need to really listen to right now. They're the ones who are in it in the same position I'm in, and they're the ones who've had all this experience. And so I really wanted to get their take on it.
Experience.
We unfortunately
Sorry. The combination of QK in your mastermind group is making me want to throw up right now.
I don't know why you have a problem with my mastermind group. What is the problem you have with
Listen,
them? Has
because you have been tweeting nonstop about certain people from your mastermind group, like Phil. I mean, who are these people? Our listeners do not care about the mastermind group. They only care when we talk about nothing but James Bond, which is exactly what we're doing right now. We're talking nothing but James Bond.
I know,
But
I
your
know.
mastermind group has got to go. I mean, I've heard rumblings. Some of my fan mail is like, "Yo, dude, what's up with Carlin?" That was from Janice. By the way, that was a fan mail from Janice.
Okay.
That's what it just said. That's all it said.
It
Um,
said, "What? Say it again." I mean, I know it's probably taking a lot of time out of our show, but go ahead and read that letter again.
it said, "Yo, dude, what's up with Carlin?" That's what it said.
It doesn't say anything about the
And I
mastermind
assume
group. Well, you don't know.
no. There's so much subtext there. There's so much. Listen,
Look,
it'll go over your head. It goes over your head.
Janice. If you'd like, just come to me. Don't go to Aaron. He doesn't know what's going on. He's not a
Listen,
member of the
she
mastermind group.
sent it to the real
If
headquarters.
you feel
which at this
like, oh, Aaron's not a mastermind, he's more approachable. No. I'm just as approachable. Anytime you want. This goes for Aaron. This goes for QK. This goes for Alabama Dog. This goes for anybody, but not just people who are associated with the show, but listeners.
Then-
Listeners, anytime
then how-
you have something that you want to talk to me about,
Don't,
I,
don't, don't,
I'm
don't
an
talk
open
to
door.
Janice. Don't talk to Janice. Don't talk to Janice.
Janice,
She
come
sent
to
fan
me.
mail to me.
Email me. You
Fan
can
mail to
call
me.
me. You can text me. You can send me carrier
Oh.
pigeons. Whatever. Just let
What
me
a-
know.
what a-
I'm
what-
here.
What a steamy that's such baloney. You are the most inaccessible person I know at this point right now, even more so than Alabama Dog. And I think Alabama Dog is pretty. He's a guy that's pretty hard to get a hold of. And I've been trying to call you, email you, text you, Skype you,
Oh, you having some
Facebook you,
financial
tweet
issues again?
you.
Some
Um,
financial problems?
well, you would know if you listen to my voicemails.
Yeah, I mean, I see them. I see that you call. I see it.
Listen, listen. I mean, mostly it's because I'm getting hit with these bills from my trip to Las Vegas to go to the potties, and I thought Bama Dog was covering that from Bama Creative Group,
Oh, I would have
and it
figured
turns out
that.
he's not.
Oh, he's not? Well, I would
Turns out
figure
he's
that.
not covering.
Why not? Didn't you pass out pillows for him?
I did.
Okay, I would think
Apparently,
that would fall
apparently
under him.
he
Look, that's
there was
not.
some
Did James
there's some
Pod.
fine time. I don't know.
Did Pod James
So
Pod
I
win
need
a
some
potty?
evidence.
Did we win a potty?
I mean,
No.
if you wanna, no. I mean, no,
No, we
no.
did
I mean,
not.
I was gonna count
So
my
this
cat toe.
show is not covering your trip. Okay.
But did I say your
Also,
show? Did I
did
say
we
your
win?
show? I was talking about Bama Creative Group.
I know. I'm just. You know. It's like you're coming here like, oh, Bama Creative Group's not gonna cover my trip, and you're coming to me like you're calling me like you think I'm gonna cover it. No.
You were supposed to give me advice. I wasn't looking for money for handouts. Maybe
Uh,
I'll call Phil. Maybe I'll call Phil. Maybe he's a mastermind who can help me.
yeah. I mean, you could. Phil's show is a call-in show, but that's not really what his show is about. But you certainly could
Oh
call.
wait, wait. What's his show about?
His show is it's like a tech support show. It's like about computers and about
Texas.
if you have technical issues, you can call in, and if you have a problem, he can help you with your problems, and
So
that's kind
kind
of how it works.
so kind of like a car talk show. Is it funny? Is it like some banter going on in it? Or is it
Oh, I
just
mean,
him?
he's super intelligent. He just really knows. He's an expert. He just really knows his material. So if you have a problem, he's the guy to call. You know, and it's funny. It's like you keep calling him Phil. That's not how I refer to him as. Because his nickname is faulty. That's that's funny. His nickname is faulty. Like everyone calls him faulty.
Faulty.
Yeah, that's just it's funny. Everyone calls him faulty, but yeah, his name is Phil. So
I'm not laughing.
I am.
So, so you're so you're saying because he may be an expert, really intelligent about tech support, but we're the James Bond experts. Am I right?
Right,
I
we're the
mean,
James Bond experts. That's why
I mean,
that's why all we do
we
is talk
won.
about James Bond on this podcast. Is
We
all we do.
we beat 007 Cena.
007. Seen
We are
it.
experts. Um, so somebody like Janice is writing mail to me. She's asking me questions because she knows that I'm an expert. So I don't know why you're so upset that somebody's asking me questions and not asking you any questions.
I'm not upset.
Maybe
I'm just
I should be the
disappointed.
mastermind.
I'm just
Maybe
disappointed.
I should be the mastermind group. Maybe I should start my own mastermind group.
What, what?
I will be the master of the masterminds.
That would be great. I mean, that'd be great. You could go. You could join a group, like a
No, no,
like
no.
a co-host, like a
I'm starting
co-host
my own.
group. You could join one, start one, whatever, and you could go and you could get all kinds of ideas, and it could help
Listen,
our show. That's what I'm
listen.
doing.
Maybe I'll start a group called the Potties Group. So only hosts that are worthy of potty. So either previous winners or future winners. So maybe I went to the potty, so I have a lot of connections now with potty people. Potty people, yeah. So
Oh,
maybe that's what
You know what? I'm guessing I'm gonna get the letter from Janice this time after that joke.
I'll do. Janice, come on, you're on Team Aaron still. You're on Team Aaron.
Yeah, I think you're letting the whole your cat got a potty thing go to your head a little bit. I mean, you didn't get the potty, your cat did.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like future winners, uh, or like
Future winners. Why are
people
you going to be a
the
future winner?
shortness. Well, this podcast, we said since day one that this is a finite podcast. That we there are no guarantees that this is going to last forever. So I'm just planning ahead. I'm planning for my future, and that's what masterminds do.
You're right. You're right. That's what masterminds do. And speaking of masterminds, I've gone to them I've broached the subject about QK. And why are you signed every time? Like, why do you have such a problem
QK.
with my mastermind group?
Listen. Last month when we talked, you were all I don't know. I figured over the course of the month that QK would have been gone. I could
No, no,
see
not yet, not
this
yet. That's a
not
big
yet. Oh,
decision.
so
That's a big
you're thinking
decision.
about it.
That's a big
Is it
decision, and
really?
just
Is it
because
really?
you said it, I'm not gonna take
Can
stock in that. I'm gonna go to my mastermind group and listen to what they say. I'm not gonna listen
can
to
you
you, okay?
can you remind me what QK actually does that helps our podcast?
Um, I mean, without her, I could not function.
So you're saying you're functioning right now.
Yeah.
So without her, you couldn't function. So does that mean that your mastermind, is dependent on QK? So is QK part of the mastermind group?
No, QK is not a part of the mastermind group. The yeah,
This mastermind group is nonsense.
look, I'm
It's
I'm way
nonsense.
I'm way up. I'm way up. I'm up. I'm up.
What is this? Is this a pyramid scheme? Are you
I'm
paying
way up
money
in the
to be
clouds. I'm looking down. I'm like a high level thinker. Remember high level goals.
high level
I
goals?
can't
Oh, just blow my brains out
I can't
hearing
think
that.
about all the day to day, the little mundane stuff. I need somebody to take care of that for me.
Wait, do all the masterminds in your mastermind group, do they have their own QK?
They have their own assistants. This is what we talked about some last time, and we weren't able to. I guess I just brought up at the end of the meeting, and we weren't able to get into it. And so, actually, I'm going to be the meeting leader at our next call. I'm the one who's running the meeting. So I'm making that sort of the number one topic. So I'm going to hold off until we can really hash it out, and then whatever they say to do, I'm going to do. Here's what I want to. Here's what I just don't get why you have such a problem with this group. I mean, this podcast it's so much better now since I've joined the mastermind group. Don't you think?
Really?
Don't you think? I
I
mean, it hasn't.
mean, I mean, I mean, I can ask Janice, but I think she's gonna write me another letter say, "Yo, what's up with Carlin?"
Okay, I should be like. Maybe
I,
she's like, "Yo, what's up?" He's like so much better. He is so. He is
no,
so
you're reading in the wrong
great.
voice. You're reading the wrong voice. It's, "Yo, dude, what's up with Carlin?" Like
Ah,
that.
I
It's like
don't
that.
know. I don't know about that.
No, I totally know where she's coming from.
Here's what I'm
Okay,
gonna do. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna ask my mastermind group if they'd mind if I'd record a little snippet of our next call. Just a little snippet.
the call. So the meeting that you're leading.
The meeting that I'm leading, I'm going to record a little snippet of it, and I'm going to bring it to the next show, and I'm going to share it with you.
Why would we put our listeners through that? That's torture. That's not potty level stuff. And I know
If
because I'm
anything,
starting a potty mastermind.
just having these few people on the same show, their voices on the same show. I mean, that right there, instant potty. I feel like it's almost cheating. But I'm just going to share with you. You're
It's
gonna
cheating our listeners out of a great James Pod
no,
episode.
no, it's gonna be great. So I'm going to arrange that, and so next episode, look forward to that. It's gonna be great.
Jeez. All right. So you're Carlin Trammell. I'm Aaron Nix. This is the James Pod podcast, and where we do nothing but get in depth into James Bond movies, culture,
That is
trivia,
absolutely
everything.
all we do is we just hone in, we focus, we have a laser focus like a laser beam, just like the laser beam in Goldfinger, where we're just zeroing in on James Bond.
So you're saying we are Goldfinger.
We're the laser beam. We're Goldfinger's laser beam.
Wait. So who's the equivalent to Goldfinger
The
in this situation?
listeners, they're the ones who've
If we're the
turned
laser
on.
beam,
They're the ones who've
just
turned on and activated the laser beam. That's what we are.
so they're focusing us onto
On
James Bond.
John to James Bond.
So like Janice, she's trying to refocus us by saying, "Yo, dude, what's up with Carlin?" She is essentially that's Goldfinger's talking to us.
That's kind of a James Bond Jr. Goldfinger, but yeah, essentially yes.
What? Are you insulting our listener?
No,
Are you
I would
insulting
never
Guinness?
insult our listener.
I
I
don't
just called
listen.
our
I
listeners
don't know what her age
Goldfinger.
is. I don't know what her age is, just like I don't know what James Bond Jr.'s age is.
I don't,
Okay? He could be 28. He could be 16. Nobody knows.
you're right. No one knows. I'm not insulting our listeners. I'm just simply calling them
Just
Goldfinger.
Janice.
Just calling them Goldfinger. That's all.
So she's okay. She could be Goldie Finger. How about that?
Maybe, maybe.
Maybe. I want to know.
I'm not a Janice expert. I'm a James Bond expert.
Of course you're not. I am. She wrote me.
Oh, you're okay. You're the expert. What other? So Janice
Thank
is the
you.
only one who wrote in about the mastermind group. Who else said something? It's just Janice. Okay, all
Listen.
right.
So
It's just
let's
Janice.
get back our laser focus. Let's get our laser focus back. I feel like we're deviating. Well, we never deviate. Let's just be clear.
No, I mean, does a
We're
laser
we're always
deviate?
we're
No,
always on topic.
a laser that
Um,
deviates wouldn't be a laser. That's science.
so last episode we hinted, not hinted, we just flat out came out and said that this episode we'll be talking about two movies. The first ever
This is
time that we've done this.
unprecedented for the James Pod podcast. A double feature,
You're in for a special treat,
as you would
listeners.
be,
We'll talk about
as you
two
have
movies.
been 21 times before.
That's so true.
22
That's
if
so
you
true.
count the fact that I had a 0013 and Alabama Dog had a 0013.
It's like the gift that keeps on giving. Pod James Pod. So
Essentially.
so this month we will be talking about Thunderball, the official Eon production,
The
and
fourth
Never Say Never
Sean
Again.
Connery, the fourth Sean Connery movie.
And Never Say Never Again, the unofficial James Bond film from 1983, where Sean Connery came back and reprised his role as James Bond.
Let's talk about
And
that. Did he reprise his role as James Bond, or is this did he do a different James Bond?
well, I mean, technically, of course, technically, it's a different James Bond because it's based off the script treatment for like it's a whole legal mess where certain people, certain writers retain certain screen rights, so that's why they're able to make an unofficial James Bond version of this
Of the
story
story, right?
of the story. So it's like a different version of James Bond, but it's Sean Connery. Everybody's. I mean, it's not like he did anything too terribly different. It's this. It's James Bond.
I know,
If
but
it was a different,
I'm just thinking about, and I'd like to call it, instead of continuity, Bond-tenuity.
Bontinuity, okay, okay, I
Bond-tenuity.
like that.
So we talked about this
Work
some
for
actually last episode, and so we've got Sean Connery played the role for 5 movies. He left. Lazenby comes in for a movie. There
okay.
are
We don't talk.
no, we're talking about it. There's a scene at the beginning, near the beginning of the movie, where he has flashbacks to the previous films. He has trinkets in his desk. It refers to the
Yes.
fact that this is the same character.
Yeah.
Um, so then, of course, he only does the one movie. Connery comes back, clearly the same character. That's fine. I'm
Diamonds Are Forever.
Diamonds Are
Yeah.
Forever. He leaves. Roger Moore comes in, same character, because we see that at least
Yeah.
a couple of times. He's referred to as the same guy. We have Moneypenny, of course, transferring over. Q, M. Some of the
Yeah.
same people are transferring over.
Yeah.
So at
Yeah.
least from Connery through the end of Moore, this is the same guy. And of course, Never Say Never Again came out at the same time as Octopussy. So at this point, he's not that guy, although he could have been, because he has already switched faces and switched back to that face and then switched again. So, but I mean,
So you're saying,
I'm
Go ahead.
trying to reconcile the fact that we have 2 James Bonds in 1 year, essentially.
yeah.
And I would I would think that if Never Say Never Again had tweaked a few things, maybe
Uh,
the names, maybe hung a lantern, so to speak, on the fact that, oh wow, this seems familiar. It seems like I've done something like this before. Then I could buy into the fact that this is the same character, but it's not. I think this is a
mhm.
separate alternate universe James Bond. It's a separate character.
Really?
In the same
Really?
way that Barry Nelson was a different character, or all those different Bonds in the 1967 Casino Royale, different character.
Yeah. But you said you hated that. You hated that concept of there being several James Bonds
Oh, I
around the
do.
globe.
I'm talking. We're talking something like crazy metaphysical now. This is like Earth 2 James Bond, alternate reality James Bond.
Oh,
Not
okay.
like same different guy or multiple people. We're talking like science fiction door to a different dimension thing.
So you're saying if the script, because the transition from Connery to Roger Moore was essentially that there, I mean, the only really tie-ins were like the supporting cast, M, Moneypenny,
Initially,
Q.
initially.
Initially, yeah. So you're saying Live and Let Die, which was Roger Moore's first film, that transition, you're only getting that it's the same James Bond simply by supporting characters. Um,
At that point,
s-
yes, but
at that point.
eventually
So
there's references to Tracy. If nothing
yeah,
else, For Your Eyes Only has that.
yeah. For Your Eyes Only, which we talked about last month. Or sorry, 2 months
Two
ago.
months ago.
That tied it into, yes, this is the same James Bond who got married to Tracy, Blofeld killed, and all that yada yada. Um, so if Never Say Never Again, James Bond, if there was one supporting cast member who's the same, everything else in the script was, happens, unfolds as it does, that you're saying that that world could have been the same James Bond. But since there's zero tie-in to the other James
Here,
Bond films, that this is an alternate
yeah.
Earth, alternate
Here's what I would have
reality.
wanted to see to make me feel like this is the same character and not an alternate
Okay.
reality Bond. I would have wanted to have seen the names changed so that they weren't fighting Largo or there wasn't a Domino. It wasn't the same characters. They had already changed some of the names slightly, so it wasn't
Yeah.
the same first name. Largo was a different first name, but his last name was still the same.
Yeah.
And so just by the fact that it's the same character names and the same grouping of character names, that seems odd to me.
Like you can't help but think like, oh, this is just a remake, or they're just using these same characters, versus if they just went completely different and got completely different character
Right.
names. They could have kept the same script. They just
Exactly. Except for one other change I would have wanted to have seen, and that is if he had said something like, "Boy, it seems similar to something that I have done before. This seems
yeah.
oddly reminiscent of an old mission I did back in the '60s."
Yeah. Yeah.
Then I could have bought that this is the same Bond
hmm
as it
Yeah, if there's
is.
a little tongue-in-cheek
Right,
joke
right.
kind of going on that. Yeah. Interesting.
So you agree?
Um, I yeah, at least they changed the title of the story. And that's kind of the tongue-in-cheek there. Um, do I agree?
Yeah.
So are you basically saying that this Bond universe, that these characters can't be on our dodgeball teams?
That is not what I'm saying because we've pulled from James Bond Jr., we've pulled from Casino Royale 1967. That is
Okay, now
not
I'm
at all
just
what I'm saying.
I'm just making sure what you're trying to get at here, what your real motive is. Um,
Real
I
motive,
can kind of
I'm establishing a rule for because we are the Bond experts. We
no.
should share with the listeners
Okay, I
what
I
they should
think
think.
I think it's interesting to think of it as like a different Bond universe, just because it really is. The movie's just Never Say Never Again is just so interesting because it is an alternate Bond. It came out the same year as a real Bond movie with a different actor. And the fact that it was played by Sean Connery, if it was a different actor, like I don't even know if we would be having this discussion. But the fact that it is Sean Connery, it just is so it's just so interesting. Like you could just think about it. I mean, it makes the movie. Like if it wasn't Sean Connery, I don't know. We can get into it a little bit, but I'll go with you. I'll go with you on onto this alternate world path.
Okay, all right. These are the way. This is just how I think. I mean, that's how you think as a mastermind. You think at those high levels.
Oh, blow my brains out. Jeez. Okay, so let's go back to the original. Let's go back to Thunderball.
Thunderball. Yeah, yeah.
This is Sean Connery's fourth film as James Bond. Um, immediate thoughts.
Immediate thoughts. This was a big. This is probably his biggest film. I mean, to some extent, his next one had a lot of big set pieces and stuff. But I mean,
Yeah.
as far as his films go, this is the biggest one. I mean, all the underwater stuff, all the
Oh,
the
the
different
underwater.
locations and the multiple crew people he had with him. You know, he works with Felix and he has got the assistant who was a great assistant by the way. I really need someone more like her than QK. Um, but
There you go.
it just seemed like a much bigger production than even Goldfinger, which was
Yeah.
at that point, you know, that's the one that sort of set the standard from that point on.
Thunderball was almost going to be the first James Bond film.
I can't
I'm
even.
glad that, I'm glad it wasn't
Right.
because if Doctor No had been a later film, it would have been like a big step backward. Like, what? Why is there no giant set pieces? Where is all the underwater action stuff like that?
Well, I don't know how they would have had the budget to pull it off. I mean, Doctor No was a simpler story, and they could. I mean, yeah, it was. It's not like it was no budget, but I mean,
Yeah,
it wasn't what Thunderball was. And if they tried to pull Thunderball off with the budget of Doctor No, I don't know if they could have done it.
I think Thunderball they could have cut. I think they could have cut the budget in half. I think they could have cut the budget in half. And well, okay, so my immediate thoughts are that it took me 3 nights to get through Thunderball this past week. It took me 3 nights. I fell asleep twice watching Thunderball. Both times is when he goes underwater, and there there may be action going on, but it's slow-mo action, and there's no sound effects except for some bubbles, and it put me to sleep. It just put me to sleep. I'm telling you, maybe I'm narcoleptic. I don't know.
Maybe
I don't
you
know what to
are.
tell
I
you,
don't.
but it was really tough to get through Thunderball this week, and I think I think the story drag. But okay, so they should have put that underwater budget, which is I love the Wikipedia page by the way for Thunderball. If you go to the plot, um, and hang on. Oh yeah. So it describes the plot up to the point of the big underwater battle at the end, and then it says, and it simply says the underwater battle. It says after an underwater battle, the henchmen surrender. Like that's that is all Wikipedia says about what happens underwater. It's like nobody
You
cares.
should go in there and
There's nothing
spruce it
that's
up.
going on.
You as a James Bond expert should go into Wikipedia and spruce it up.
Yeah, I should take it down like beat by beat what's going on in the
Absolutely.
underwater fight. You're right. I should go into Wikipedia and I should like double the length of the this plot
Yeah, you should.
synopsis.
You should.
Yeah. Um, other immediate thoughts.
Are you asking me?
Yeah. Sorry,
Um,
other immediate thoughts?
Immediate thoughts?
Sorry. You already had immediate thoughts.
I
Any other big I guess opinions about Thunderball? I mean, how is Sean Connery in this? He's getting older, but he doesn't look like he's about to drop dead like he did in Diamonds Are Forever.
well,
And
this is the last time we're talking about Sean Connery movies. I mean, I'm sure we'll bring him up again. I think this was his last good film, and maybe you don't agree that it was a good film. Apparently, you had problems, but We've already talked about how You Only Live Twice, that he was sort of phoning it in. We've talked about Diamonds Are Forever and the problems it has, and we'll talk a little bit more about Never Say Never Again in a bit. But this one, he still seemed to be in it. Yes, he is getting older, but he still seemed to not be
Yeah,
phoning it in yet.
yeah, yeah. I would agree. I think Sean Connery's fine in this. I think it's not. I don't think it's his finest film. I'll tell you what. And you'd alluded that maybe I don't think this is a great film. Um, there are some things that I really like about this film. There's some things that just drive me nuts. So, for example, um, the opening scene, the opening, the pre credits scene is probably some of the worst direction uh, I've ever seen. And Terrence Young came back for this as director after directing Doctor No and From Russia with Love. And this opening scene is probably it might be my least favorite. Like I think it's the worst directed scene I've seen thus far in James Bond films. It's just absolute the continuity and the action is just it's just the worst. And I'm not even talking about the jetpack. Like that was fine, but just the as a viewer, like I'm watching it and I don't even know what's going on. It's just so bad. Um, I'll be the rest of the movie is fine, but I'm like, did they go back and did they not have the budget? Could they take in some of the underwater budget and use it towards shooting this first scene a little bit better? I don't know. It was a joke. I feel like it was a big, big joke.
It seemed to like it jumped in the middle a little bit too much. Like I don't mind that there's like I've said I like the little mini adventures and even though this one it's not complete, you know, it just sort of jumps into the middle of it and sort of truncates some of the plot. It's like they were trying to tell too big of a story in too short a time. I think that's what the
Yeah,
issue was.
yeah, yeah. And
Um, well,
and this is and
let me tell you something I
good.
liked. I mean, we can get back to some of the
Yeah,
things.
go for it.
I liked all the Bond girls in this. I liked Domino.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, I liked the assistant Paula Kaplan. I love that he had an assistant in this. Um, Fiona. Well, I mean, I think we've seen this before in our chronology. Good Night and The Man with the Golden Gun. She was frustratingly treated horribly.
Yeah.
We've seen it again. We saw it a little bit with in Quantum of Solace with Gemma Atherton's character. She sort of shows up and is an assistant of sorts. We kind of see it with Vesper
Mhm.
to some extent. I want Bond to be a solo character, but at the same time, I like that there's these supporting team members that it
Yeah.
connects him to MI6. And I thought here in the case of Paula Kaplan, as opposed to say Good Night, she's portrayed as competent. She's in on it. You know, like even the scene where she's sort of first there and she's helping him do a little diving, and he breaks the boat so that he can go off and ride back in with Domino. She's like, yeah, she gets it. She's not like, oh, James, and rolling her eyes. She's
Yeah.
like, hey, this is my role. This is what I got to
Yeah.
do. You know, and it was disappointing. I thought I liked her enough as a character that it was disappointing when she died. And here I am talking more about Paula Kaplan than I am the other Bond girls, but I like the other ones too. I thought Domino was good. She sort of harkened back a little bit more to like a Honey Rider kind of
Yeah.
character. And then of course here we have a situation where we've got the bad Bond girl and Fiona, and she was great as well. So I think this is a solid Bond girl movie.
Yeah. I would agree. I mean, to be honest, for the most part, I think they were kind of forgettable. I think the whole film is kind of forgettable to some extent. I think it goes a little bit more. I mean, this film kind of it takes that next level as far as the looking at Spectre and that whole bigger than life type villain. I mean, most of the film deals with number two and with Largo and everything, but even then, even he's like a kind of a bigger life villain. He's got the sharks, which is great. I mean, the shark makes another appearance in this film.
Is it the same shark
Um,
that was in the other movies in For Your Eyes Only and in License to Kill? Is it the same shark? Like one of those sharks was the same
Of
shark?
course. Of
Okay. What are the
course.
what's the lifespan of a shark?
I think it's like I looked it up. I think it's like 30 years.
Let's pick teams. Dodgeball.
Dodgeball. Okay.
So you went first last time. It's my turn to go first. Now I want to first preface this. We've watched 2 movies.
Yeah.
But we're only doing one choice because this is just one per episode. We do this, not one per movie. Correct? Or do you want to do 2 rounds of choices?
Oh, one per episode.
Okay. I just want to clarify. I'm
Yeah.
clarifying for
Yeah.
me. I'm clarifying for you. I'm clarifying for Janice.
Hey, don't talk about her, okay? Don't talk about her.
I
Um,
so I get to go
go.
first,
Yes.
and I am
Yes.
choosing to add to my team Sean Connery from Earth 2. His the scene in the club where he's throwing things and dodging things with the henchman that's trying to kill him. I said that's that. At first, I'm watching. I'm like, oh yeah, that's my player. And then as I continue watching the movie, I'm like, wait, that's technically not my player. That's an alternate reality Bond. I could have 2 Sean Connerys on my team, and that is what I'm choosing to do. So Coach Mitchell is gone, and I'm adding the alternate reality Sean Connery James Bond to my team.
Coach Mitchell is gone.
Coach Mitchell's
So you're
gone.
you're you're willing to lose that leadership
Yeah.
for a double dose
For
of Sean
double.
Connery.
Yeah. Which means that I
Earth.
have.
So Earth 2. Go ahead.
Which means that I have 4 James Bonds on my team.
Yeah, you're right. You're
And,
right.
And you only have 1.
I only need one. Okay. All right. So get rid of Coach Mitchell. He's gone. He was. I mean, it was a questionable choice last month anyway.
Yeah, I don't. I
Um,
don't know what you were thinking when you were suggesting that to me.
Hey, don't put that on me. Don't put that on me. All right. So for my team, even though we've established that this is an Earth 2 alternate reality James Bond, um, and that maybe my shark is it may be a different shark than what's in Never Say Never Again. But that's all right because the shark in Never Say Never Again is never really gets to your Sean Connery. Um, so I think to help out with my shark situation, to really harness that shark, my shark,
Mm-hmm.
I think I need Fatima. I think I need Fatima Blush from Never Say Never Again on my team because she
Okay.
basically has remote control power over the sharks.
Yes, that's a good call.
She I mean she'll put a tracker on, well, I guess either one of your Sean Connery bonds, and she will have the shark. Or she could put a tracker on anything. She could put a tracker on the balls. She could put trackers on certain parts of the ground. She basically can control my shark and tell it where to go,
Yeah, I mean,
which is
except the sharks can't cross the line. I mean, they have to stay on their
well, yeah,
side
of
of the
course, of
court,
course, of
and they also have to
course,
stay in the water tank. But I
of
mean,
course,
besides that,
but the water tank is going to go out. I already have the boat going. I'm just saying, with that kind of control, because right now the shark is kind of, well, it's out of control. Um, and I don't really know how to harness a shark all that well. We've just kind of been hoping the shark doesn't eat our team members.
but
So
now,
so
but
now
now you're in good shape,
now I'm in good shape. So that means I got to get rid of somebody,
right?
and I'm at a loss right now because my team is solid. I don't think it gets any better than
Well,
my
you don't
team.
have to take Fatima Blush. You don't have to take anyone.
No, I know I have to because the shark is the stinking shark, and without the shark, I can't have the stealth boat. Um, and I mean, I'm gonna go through my. I mean, let's look at my good throwers. I got Necros is a great thrower. twin knife thrower number one, Mishka, is probably the best thrower on anyone's team.
I don't know.
Knick-Knack is
Necros is pretty good. I mean, let's be Necros. The milk
yeah,
bottles. I mean, he's great.
Necros is great, and Knick-Knack is great. Knick-Knack is an amazing thrower. Um, I think I think I got to lose Baron Samedi
And that's
at this point.
that's what I'm not surprised at all. I think Baron Samedi is the right answer there. What does he bring to the table?
I mean, he brings back that he can come back from the dead really well, and
But we're not. This
he's
isn't
he can
lethal dodgeball. We're not playing lethal dodgeball here.
listen, but you can come back in the game if your team members catch a ball, and he can appear. He's got dummies. He's a freaking voodoo witch guy. I mean, he's got powers that I don't even know
Yeah,
what's going on.
yeah. Have we talked about everything? We talked a lot about Thunderball. Never Say Never Again, though. I mean, let's talk about that just briefly, though. Here we have a movie that's about 20 years older, or 18
Yeah.
years older, or whatever, and it's the same, essentially the same plot. Essentially a remake. Um, do you remember, like, when you first saw Never Say Never Again, which I assume wasn't just the time you watched it for this show?
No.
Did you realize what was going on? Did you realize it was a remake, or did you know all that going into it, or?
Oh no, not at all. Not not when I first saw it. You know, I just assumed it was a normal James Bond movie because when I was younger, I didn't really pay attention to a whole lot of the supporting cast members, and of course, I would probably see it on TV, and I would maybe catch different parts of it, and you know, I never put two and two together. And it's Sean Connery, so you see Sean Connery, people are calling him James Bond. I didn't know. I mean, why would I ever think that it's not like an official James
Right,
Bond?
right.
Why would
Well,
I ever think that it's an alternate Earth 2? So yeah, I had no reason to think um it wasn't like an official James Bond movie.
because in a lot of ways
Um,
it captures the same essence. It has the same feel. I mean, Connery is a lot of that for one. I mean, the fact that it's a remake of a movie is another part. But I mean, all that aside, it still has all the same Bond sort of things going on.
yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
But was there anything? So having watched the two back to back as I did. I mean, I watched Thunderball and I watched Never Say Never Again. And I don't think I've ever watched them that close together. Was there anything
No,
that you
neither have I.
liked better about Never Say Never Again as opposed to Thunderball?
Oh, so many things. So many things. I think it's a better directed film for sure. Um, what-
You and your you.
Irving
Hello,
Irving
I'm.
what's
I went to film school. Yeah, it's Irving Kershner. It's the guy who directed Empire Strikes Back, for one.
Irvin?
I'm sorry. I said Irving Kershner. It's Irvin Kershner, and I know Janice is going to call me out on that.
Oh, Janice. Yeah, I mean, this is his follow up to Empire Strikes Back, and I think there are a lot of things to like about the movie. I think you watch it, or I watched it, and it's not particularly it's not a obviously it's not a very original plot. It's Sean Connery, and
Obviously not.
he's old as heck, but at the same time he's younger than Roger Moore, who's doing the official James Bond movies. He's kind of hard to watch doing the action movies, but it's so interesting watching it right after Thunderball. Like, how did this movie ever get made?
Oh, I know.
Like
It's
that's what I
fascinating.
just want to know. How is it? It's so fascinating, and I think there are a lot of cool things about it. I think the whole idea, the whole push of how they get the nuclear bombs is uh it's better. It's approached better in this film. I think they approached James Bond getting older, kind of like it was kind of like a throwback to Skyfall in terms of like James Bond getting older and phasing out the double O's, and how M has a completely different personality versus in Thunderball, where M is fighting for James Bond versus now he's reluctant to even let James Bond back in the field. Um, I think it's a completely new take on James Bond than we had seen in films prior to this. I
Yeah.
mean, there are a lot of good things. Mr. Bean, I mean, Rowan Atkinson shows up. I mean, I loved it. Like there's so much to love in this movie. That stinking video game
I
that he
think the
does
video game to
with
me is the worst part of this movie,
no,
though.
it's totally the worst part, but it's fascinating. Like you can't watch that and just be amazed at like what the hell is going on in this scene. Like it's so bad, but it's so good. I just there are a lot of points in this film where it jumps the shark, and I'm not talking about my shark, of course. It's on a different team. Um, but I mean, there's a horse jump off a building into water that's slightly more realistic than like the Quantum of Solace plane jump. Um, I mean, Bond and Felix like get shot out of a submarine with these jetpacks out of these missiles for no reason. They literally just land on the beach 50 yards in front of them. Um, like I don't know. I think there's a lot to like in this movie.
All right, all good points. I would say like my takeaway has always been that Thunderball is the better movie because it's the original. It's the one from the '60s. It's the older
The
one. It's the original.
original. It's the Ian Fleming one.
You know, and
Yeah.
I know we're heading into this part. I like Thunderball. I enjoy it quite a bit, and maybe of the three co-hosts, I'm in the minority. I don't know. I that said, I feel also that Never Say Never Again has always had a sort of a negative sort of connotation in my mind. I don't love Kim Basinger in this. I think she's the inferior Domino. But that aside, everything else is like you said. It's actually really well done, and it's pretty interesting, and a lot of it seems to have tightened up the Thunderball script in a lot of ways. So I don't
Yeah.
know. Let's talk about ratings. So where would we put these in our tiers?
Well, I don't know where we would put these in our tiers.
Well, that's what we're gonna talk about. We're
No,
gonna talk about at this point where we put them in. Let's start with you, Thunderball. Where do you put that in your tier? Is it in the top, middle, or bottom?
this is tough. I mean, this is a tough one because as I've said before on the show, it's tough to put a Sean Connery movie in the bottom. Thunderball is going to go in my bottom. I think I think
Bottom.
there are some things to there's some things to like in this, but man, it just after seeing the things that never say never again did so much better, and how I think Sean Connery is so much better in that film than he is even in Thunderball in his prime. Um, minus the fighting and action sequences. Yeah, Thunderball is going to the bottom, whereas Never Say Never Again is going in my middle. And I'll be completely honest. Rewatching these, if I had if you had asked me this question before I had watched both these films, there's no way I would have put Never Say Never anywhere near my middle, just based on what I've seen before and speculate. It has a reputation for not being very good. I'm gonna put Never Say Never in my middle.
Okay. Both in the middle for me. I like Thunderball.
Both.
I like. I get what you're saying. I don't disagree. I think there are things that could be tightened up. But I didn't have the same problem with that you did, where I'm like falling asleep and stuff. You know, I actually have an attention span. I can
Oh my
focus on
gosh.
something. So I enjoy Thunderball. There are lots of things I like about it. I said, you know, I mean, if nothing else, Paula Kaplan, she's not going in the bottom tier. I like her too much. Domino, this Domino, not
Oh,
going there.
we're doing characters now?
No, we're not doing
We're doing
characters. I'm talking about there's enough in this movie that I cannot place this in the bottom tier. Um, those are the things. Those are the saving pieces for me. Everything that you say that are negative reasons about this movie, I kind of agree. I mean, actually, I kind of agree. But there's enough other things I like. It's going in my middle. And Never Say Never Again. I didn't like it enough to put it in the top, but it fits in right there near Thunderball in the middle. Okay, so boat makeout scenes. Thunderball. Let's go this out down first. I think we have a situation that's reminiscent of another movie
Yeah.
before.
This is so they I don't know what it is with Sean Connery. He gets in these boats. He wraps his arms around these Bond girls, and he's so close to a kiss, and then something happens, and we don't see them kiss. So Thunderball, he's in the lifeboat, and he lets up the little blimp,
Yeah.
and the plane comes and carries him away before we actually see any sort of kiss happen. So I mean, I don't know about you. I'm gonna go ahead and say no.
I'm gonna agree. If we said yes here, we'd have to change Diamonds Are Forever. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
with you.
we'd have to.
It's a no.
And we don't even have to put it up for a vote. And I will say that they obviously stole the whole plane, uh, taking the line with the blimp. They stole that from the Dark Knights. I'm just saying that
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, yeah.
So the Never Say Never Again ending ended with a wink, with Sean Connery winking at us.
Well, there's no boat.
Yeah, there's no boat. He jokes about retiring, and then of course the punchline "Never Say Never Again" comes in with a wink to the camera, or was it to the camera, or was he just winking to the domino? I forget.
I think it
But
was
there
to
is
the
no boat.
camera. Yeah, there's no boat. So that yeah. So no boat makeout scenes in these two movies.
But we're not going to count the Never Say Never Again tally against it,
That will not count
or
against it. Right,
overall
you're right.
tally.
You're right.
No. Can I ask you a question? I'm kind of backtracking a little bit, because I before we started recording, I'm being completely honest with our listeners right now because we're always completely honest.
That's the honesty is
Um,
what our
I
policy is.
I briefly, yeah, our policy. I briefly looked at Never Say Never Again's Wikipedia page just to brush up on a little bit of the. I know it's Wikipedia, whatever.
Yeah, it's just a little
It's not
something just to
scholarly.
bring
I just
bring it back to you real quick. Just a
yeah,
refresher. Yeah, I
I
don't
just
think Janice
I
is looking
just
down on you for that. No, no.
I just wanted to look. I just want to look at maybe a little short information about some of the production and some of the legal controversy about it. And I did not know that MGM bought the distribution rights. MGM owns Eon Productions. MGM bought the distribution rights to Never Say Never Again in 1997, making it, even though it wasn't produced by Eon Productions, it is distributed by the official James Bond
Right.
franchise right now, which I think is really interesting, even though they don't include it in their DVD packs or Blu-ray packs, as you would know, your
Yeah,
Blu-rays,
this
the
is not. I
Blu-ray
didn't. I actually
packs.
didn't. This is the first time I watched one of these movies. Well, I guess no, the Casino Royale, the Barry Nelson Casino Royale, I watched on YouTube. But this I watched on DVD. Everything else I've watched on Blu-ray, but this I only had the DVD.
I'm glad you're.
And I should say, going back to an early episode, I think all the way back to either our first or second episode. If you go back and listen, I referenced the fact that I'd be always watching these on Blu-ray, and
Blu-ray.
except for this one, because and I cited the fact that the Blu-ray for Never Say Never
That's
Again
right.
was $1 million, but since that time there is a newer print of it, and so don't be selling your Never Say Never Again Blu-rays on eBay and expecting $1 million because there's a newer print. So
Well, and our listeners, or people probably have because they listen to us and they know that we're experts, so they're expecting to get $1 million on eBay from.
yeah, and I'm assuming that the MGM or whatever whoever's distributing is now they've re-released it because of our podcast. That's my assumption. And yeah, I think it's because of the whole the Broccoli's and the Saltzmans and all like that whole group of
Yeah.
people. They're the ones who have the rights for the canon, the Earth One James Bond, so to speak. That's why it's not. That's why it's not going in the Blu-ray box set. That's
I
why it's
think
not
the
official.
I think the official Blu-ray box should have like Earth One James Bond. Like that should be the title of like the James Bond pack.
Yeah,
Just
I think
confuse the
so.
heck out of
Make
everybody.
get a sticker. I'm gonna write Earth One on a sticker and stick it on my Blu-ray box.
Well, the next iteration of a James Bond pack, they'll probably rename it after they listen to our podcast.
I would assume. I would assume they would. Yeah, whenever they
Well,
release the
Sam,
set that has Spectre on it, they're gonna have to put the extra page or two in there for the little Blu-rays to fit in, and while they're at it, they'll redo the box art and they'll put in their Earth One James Bond. Blu-ray set. As named on, and it'll be in big letters, the Pod James Pod podcast.
Yeah.
And then,
Yep. Exactly.
if that happens, I just want to thank the Mastermind Group. Thanks, guys.
No,
I couldn't do it without you.
I thought it had been so long since we had talked about the mastermind group. No. Okay.
All right. So next
Go
month, we're gonna do this again, and we've closed.
We're going to talk about these movies again?
No, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do a show again. We're gonna do a show again next month. It's gonna be 0023, and we've closed the book now on Sean Connery. I think we should close the book on somebody else. Let's close the book on Pierce Brosnan, and let's talk about Die Another Day.
Die Another Day. Do we have?
Yeah, let's just do it. We gotta do it sometime.
Let's do it next month.
Let's do it.
It'll be a good one. It'll be a doozy. Before we leave, I want to give a special thank you to our unofficial official sponsor, Peppy Foods.
Thanks, Peppy.
Peppy Coffee.
Yep.
Thank you, Peppy. And it's been sort of nice talking to you, Carlin. Please don't bring any sort of recording from your mastermind group next month.
It's always a pleasure talking to me. It's always a pleasure talking to me.
All right. Adios.
All right. Bye.